What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of This is KC Sports right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Episode number 78. My name is Brandon, the franchise Buck, the greatest of all time, the best in the world, but more importantly, the owner of the world. And we are here for another show this Monday, January 6th of 2025. Now, of course, first and foremost, we have got to give credit where credit is due. Follow us on the Twitter, the Gram, the Book of Face, TikTok, and YouTube at IE Sports Radio. If you are watching us right now on YouTube, you'll be seeing my gorgeous, beautiful face that was made for radio live on the YouTube channel for This is KC Sports, as well as follow us on all of your podcasting needs for Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all of that good jazz. You can also follow us on our main Twitter handle. This is KC_IESR, as well as follow me at Real Franchise. And then, of course, follow us all and get all of your IESR sports commentary from all the other shows that we establish right here on IESR Sports. It's a great bunch of people. You will be highly entertained as we try and do, to the best of our abilities, all of that good jazz. First and foremost, I need to take a little beverage break here right quick because I've got cotton mouth like you, just going out of style. We're going to try and get things warmed up here. We got some things to talk about. We're going to be talking about Pittsburgh State University. We're going to be talking about KU, K-State, Mizzou. We're going to be talking about the drama that is Tyreek Hill. Why is he relevant to Kansas City? Because he was such a big part in the success of Kansas City before being switched on over to Miami. We are also going to be talking about the Chiefs and how yesterday's game really didn't mean anything, although the fact that Denver has every right to celebrate because of the fact that after X amount of years since their last Super Bowl win, they are now officially back in the postseason, whether it was a mercy game, as some people are saying, or not. With that being stated, though, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back. This is KC Sports right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And folks, we'll be right back.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for episode 78. This is KC Sports right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Brandon the Franchise Buck coming at you in a blizzardly Kansas City area. I don't know how anybody else has been dealing with this snow. We've known about it for about a week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks, if you will. And sometimes I understand, like, the weather people will be like, oh, yeah, there's a humongous storm coming. And then a lot of us will just be like, just a little bit of snow flurries and this and that. Let me tell you something, and I know I'm going to hear this, and I know that people have personal opinions, this and that. I am thankful that I drive a truck with 4-wheel drive, high and low, and what have you. That will only get you so far. And what I mean by that is, yeah, sure, you have all your wheels turning and doing the traction and this and that, but as soon as you hit that ice patch, that's a different story. That is a different story, and that was the theme of yesterday, of watching everybody try and drive on this and that, knowing that they wouldn't be able to get up said hill. I took a different route and what have you, and it definitely helped me get to work. I was an hour late, which they were prepared for, but long story short, I'm really glad that today and tomorrow I have off, because there is no way in hell that I'm going to be traveling in there, especially going outside and clearing off my truck and what have you. So needless to say, when you have 3 or 4 different sources that are telling you to stay home, really. It's not just because they're trying to tell you to wimp out. It's literally because of the fact that the snow trucks are out there. They're trying to clear out the roads, this and that, especially since looks to be maybe in the 26 degrees as I'm looking at the outside thermostat right now. That means nothing because it's still technically below freezing. So you wonder why when you go to Twin Peaks and your beer is a little bit frosty and it's got a little bit of floating ice. It's because it's below 31 degrees in that sumbitch. So anyways, everybody stay safe out there. Don't need any more casualties. haven't heard if there's any or not. I'm just saying. Anyways, let's go and get this show on the road here. Good afternoon, franchise. Have a great show. Thank you very much, Taryn. I hope you were able to watch the Ducks game, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, as I like to call them. Because ready for the Chiefs season to begin. Yeah, I am, and I'm not, because I know that after X amount of games, win, lose, or draw, the season will be over and we won't be able to see them again until August, September. Good afternoon, franchise, from our best friend, Ralph Calise. Let's go! Have a great show. I appreciate you, Ralph. I really honestly do. I appreciate everybody that's watching it. That's what I say, us, watching me right now. 54 and 12 minutes in, and we haven't gotten the show started yet. So I really appreciate you guys. I promise you, I'm not going to bore you to death. I do have to pay some bills really quick, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and YouTube at IE Sports Radio. If you're watching YouTube right now, you can see my beautiful made-for-radio face on your screen, on your monitor, on your iPad, on your phone, whatever you're watching us on, as well as you can check us out on anything podcast wise. So Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all of that good jazz. You can, of course, follow the main Twitter handle at this is Casey_IESR, as well as follow yours truly at Real Franchise. I love interacting with people, whether it be on the This is KC or on my personal, which is right here. For those of you who are listening to this on audio, I'm pointing down to my handle. But let's just kind of go with the flow a little bit. Let's start off with the non-important things here, just for the sanctity of discussion. If you're watching this right now live, please, by all means, talk to us, talk to me on the in the chat room, because I would love to get your opinion on this. So the big question within the last 24 hours is Tyreek done in Miami? A lot of cryptic interviews that he's been doing, and I say a lot meaning one, but it's literally all over my timeline on Twitter. They even talked to the coaching staff, and they were just basically saying how I didn't hear that he had a new injury, but I heard that he was done in the second half and what have you. It definitely gives me some Antonio Brown feels, if you will, which is actually really funny, because I right before I got on the air, I was checking out Twitter, and I actually looking at some things, and for those of you that are watching me live, this is Tyreek Hill's new profile picture. It's his face on Antonio Brown's body when AB decided to ditch the field mid-game. Took off his pads, his jersey, and he was just like doing the peace sign as he was trotting away. I want to say it was against the Jets or what have you, but yeah. So he photoshopped his face on AB's body, and I think that's a dead giveaway that he's done. I'll give you my personal opinion. This is my opinion alone. This doesn't have anything to do with IESR or their thoughts or this and that, what have you. I promise it's going to be clean, so nobody try to cancel me. The fact of the matter is this. Sometimes, and I don't know what his mindset was. I don't know if he just became very impatient. I don't know if he, somebody was whispering in his ear or whatever the case may be. I'd be lying if I said that I haven't been there. When somebody's whispering in your ear, they're promising you more money or more opportunities and this and that. It's kind of hard for me not to say no matter what I've done for the company or what I am doing for said company. Granted, it hasn't happened a lot, because a lot of the times, even if people do try to whisper me like different opportunities and this and that, I kindly decline, because at the time, I enjoyed being an account manager for Verizon. At the time, I enjoyed being a casino host for a casino. At the time, I enjoyed being a bartender. At the time, I liked being on patrol with being an officer and this and that. Honestly, there are two major jobs that I've had that paid me nothing, that I had the absolute best time of my life. And that was when I was calling Pitt State football and basketball, sometimes by myself, due to sickness or whatever the case may be from the other kids. So I didn't have a color commentator. doing play-by-play for wrestling shows, meaning like a Jim Ross or a Tony Schiavone or whatever the case may be, and then of course being a professional wrestler and being paid nothing. And anybody who knows the business knows that's just how it works. That's how you pay your dues, whatever. But I mean, those are the only two jobs I actually love that nobody could convince me of. I guess also radio too. When I was a radio DJ for 96.9 The Cow and 860 AM, I loved it. I loved what I did. So going back to Tyreek and how that correlates, I don't know if somebody whispered in his ear to go to Miami, but he ended up going to Miami for a lot more money. And I think maybe he thought that he could be the superstar that he thinks and wanted to be. And in the years that he was with Miami, he didn't really get to the big dance like he probably thought he was going to. And now seeing everything that he left and whatnot seemingly getting better, whether it's because he moved on or just because of how the progression was working with the team, there's chitter chatter going all around. Everybody wants to think like Tyreek is just begging to come back to Kansas City. Why is that not possible? Because we have Rashee Rice, we have Xavier Worthy, we have Hollywood Brown. He's not going to be staying long, but we have Juju Smith. We know that's probably after this year, he's probably going to get released or whatever the case may be. Same with Mecole Hardman. D Hop, I can't remember how long he has with us. It might be just this year. Maybe next year. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in the office, believe it or not, with Andy Reid and Brett Veach. I do have speculations of my own, but with that being said, I'm just a couch analyst. I don't get paid the big bucks. I don't work for ESPN. I don't do any of that stuff. I just, I know my Chiefs. I know what we've done in the past. It took us a good long while, but we brought back Kareem. So I'm not saying never say never. I am saying, though, that right now it's just, unless something crazy happens in the offseason, I'm not seeing Tyreek coming back to Kansas City. I see him maybe doing something like maybe going to Buffalo or maybe going to Cincinnati or hell, maybe even going to Baltimore. I don't know. But with that being said, I digress. So stay tuned for all of that good jazz. That'll be some good topics to talk about. Again, if you're in the chat, please say your piece, whatever. There's about 77 of you that are watching us right now. We're about 21 minutes in. We started out a little bit late because your boy doesn't know how to read time. But, that's okay. We still have plenty of topics to talk about. I already got heat from my ex-wife because she's telling me like, oh yeah, you're just going to be online to talk about that terrible team, which tells you just how much she knows about the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs. If you're watching this live, you can see my face right now. I'm going to get heat for that. That's fine. No, we're going to be talking about that. But first and foremost, let's get out of the NFL for just 1 second. Let's go ahead and talk about one. With college, let's talk about KU. Let's talk about those Kansas Jayhawks here. In fact, I had to pull up some stats as they beat UCF yesterday, 99-48. That's like me playing NBA 2K or NCAA 2K, whatever the gimmick was, right? 99-48. KU is 11-3 currently. UCF is 10-4, so not a bad record really for both teams. Kansas, we get they're ranked 11th, but I guess being an all my life KU fan. I guess I could also say K-State too, because I did have some high school colleagues that played for K-State, whether it be Darren with football or Tyler Hughes with basketball, whatever the case may be. It's fun to watch. And, let's kind of go down. I'm just going to give you kind of like a scoring trend. I'm not going to get too in depth like I have in the past. Because I know I don't want to bore anybody, especially if you've already watched the game. We're going to go from KU to UCF. So when I say it in that order, that's who I'm referring to. Field goals, 42 out of 83, comparable to 14-68. So that's one major reason why KU beat UCF. Field goals, 50.6%, comparable to a 20.6%. Again, you got to shoot those shots, figuratively and sport talk wise. 9 out of 23 3-pointers, comparable to 7 out of 30. 3-pointers. It's still early in the season, but the boys need to work on their on their clutch, on their wrist shots. They need to get those wrist workouts in. Um, I can't remember. I really wish I had that link that I could post in here. I wouldn't be able to unless it was recorded, but I vaguely remember an interview by Reggie Miller, who was one of my favorite NBA players for the Indiana Pacers back in the day during the Jordan era. And he always used to talk about his wrist workouts and how he would just work out his wrist because that was his main prerogative when he was behind the arch. And it took me forever, but then I got it. And then in junior high, when I was in junior high, when I tried out for the basketball team, um, the 3-point shots seemed a lot more free for me than doing, say, like a layup or just a jump shot of what have you. I had to be behind that arch, and when I did, I just booyah, and it just nine times out of ten, it went in. There's a visual thing too. He played for the Denver Nuggets. I want to say his name was Abdul. But anyways, he would say that he would look at the front of the rim and just keep his eyes focused literally on the front of the rim. It looked like he was staring into space, but that's what he did, and that's how he was always accurate with his free throw shots. I don't know how accurate that is now with my athleticism. I don't really want to test it, but maybe one of these days I'll go to like the local YMCA or something, and I'll try the the free throws and go from there. Or 3-point shots and try that out after I work out the wrist a little bit. 39.1 3-point percentage comparable to 23. You got 6 out of 10 free throws comparable out of 13 out of 18. 60% free throws, which is accurate, comparable to 72% free throws. Total rebounds. This is interesting. 66 rebounds comparable to 38. Obviously, the boys were definitely checking out the back. They're checking out the backboards and making sure to crash the boards and what have you. Offensive rebounds, 24 out of 17, 17 being UCF. Defensive rebounds, 42 comparable to 21. See, this is where KU becomes big when it comes to the basketball game. They are so good, or can be really, really good and really, really dangerous too when it comes to rebounds. I automatically think of Dennis Rodman. I always admired Dennis Rodman when he was a basketball star for Chicago. Not so much, I didn't really pay attention to him when he was in Detroit. I know that sounds terrible. I've always been a Chicago fan. I was a Laker fan, I guess, with Magic Johnson. Celtics fan with Larry Bird. I didn't really pay too much attention to Isaiah Thomas with the Detroit Pistons, but it was always Michael Jordan, and then, of course, you had your Scottie Pippens, you had your B.J. Armstrongs, you had your Dennis Rodmans, you had your Tony Kukoc, yada, 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 yada. And those boys, they were really good outside of the arc. They were obviously really good with crashing the boards and what have you. But then you had Dennis Rodman, and he was just there, and he absolutely was terrible when it comes to the shots. But they didn't sign him to make points. They signed him for rebounds. And whenever I see these guys hit the rebounds, whether it be offensively or defensively, you've got to be trained on that. You've got to practice until you get blisters on your feet so bad that they explode, and you get blisters underneath those blisters. Like, you just have to. And it sounds absolutely torturous, and it is, because it's supposed to be, because you have to be that competitive and strong to crash those boards and get those rebounds and everything like that. So that's where I pay attention. Not so much the points, because we all know it fluctuates. It goes back and forth, especially with college ball. But the rebounds. Rebounds. Then, of course, you got the assists. You got 30 comparable to UCF's 10. You got 12 blocks comparable to UCF's 7. You got 6 steals comparable to UCF's 7. You have 10 turnovers comparable to UCF's 13. And then the personal fouls, maybe it's a Kansas thing, I don't know. You have 14 personal fouls comparable to UCF's 9. Again, score 99-48. KU, that was yesterday. They will be taking on. I can't even figure out what their next game is. I know it's soon. I know it is. Yeah, that's just KU for you. They've always been the dominant team. They've always proven to be the dominant team. When that counts, though, that's another story. That's completely another story. Let's see here. This is completely crap, I know. looks like tomorrow, Wednesday against Arizona State. It will be on at 8. And of course, you can get that on. Looks like it's not going to be local. It could be local, but I'm getting Fubo and YouTube TV. So regardless, it might or might not be local. Stay tuned. It is against Arizona State, and of course, you can check out ESPN. You can check out Twitter. You can check out the KU Jayhawks platform. All that good jazz. I was getting ready to say 12, 2:29 right now. We still have some time here before we go into the big leagues. Let's go and talk about those boys over in Manhattan. Kansas State lost by a point on Saturday, January 4, 62-63 against TCU. Let's talk about the play-by-play or the player stats here. Let's talk about the play-by-play. Let's go through the overview here because this game, and they're taking on we'll get to that. Trying to think here, trying to figure this out. So technology, what are you going to do? These are, I said this last week, I believe, or maybe the week before. KU K-State, obviously, I grew up a Jayhawks fan. Jacques Vaughn, that was my dude. K-State, I followed them because of Darren. I followed them because of Tyler Hughes being in basketball. If you remember that goofy looking 7-foot-tall kid, yeah, he was really good. Which is wild that I went to high school with him and this and that. I don't know. I just had to be humble and thankful that I went to Olathe schools when growing up, because then I realized what, being a champion was all about and this and that. So again, kind of like KU, I'm going to go K-State to TCU when I'm saying this overview. 27 out of 69 comparable to 24 out of 61 for TCU. 39.1% field goals comparable to 39.3. 6 out of 28 three-pointers comparable to 6 out of 15. I think TCU did a little bit better behind the arc there. 3-point percentage, 21.4 comparable to 40. So that tells you where all the points went. And that doesn't surprise me one bit. 2 out of 5 free throws comparable to 9 out of 16. Not too many times behind the foul line, but also in the same sense they made it worthwhile to the best of their abilities. You got a 40% free throw shot or percentage comparable to 56.3 with TCU. Total rebounds, 47 for K-State comparable to 36 for TCU. Offensively, you have 18 comparable to TCU's 10, and then defensively 29 comparable to 26. Again, we talk about the Dennis Rodman theory. If you're watching this live, I'm doing the quotation marks right now, and I'm saying that verbally because of the fact that people will be listening to this on audio later on. Assists, 16 comparable to 10 for TCU. Blocks, 4 blocks comparable to 3 blocks with TCU. 3 steals, K-State comparable to 4 steals for TCU. So it wasn't really a back and forth kind of thing. It wasn't really a defensive game, it seemed. So turnovers, a lot of turnovers. So probably out of the missed shots here, 12 turnovers for K-State comparable to TCU 6. And then fouls, 19 personal fouls comparable to TCU's 13. That was K-State versus TCU. That game was on the 4th of January. That was 2 days ago. And, that's just how the cookie crumbles. That you win some, you lose some. It is what it is. It's one of those things. It's one of those things, and it's okay. We're still very early into the season. Tomorrow they take on Oklahoma State. Which I believe you can watch off of ESPN Plus. So if you are an ESPN Plus member, such as me, because I like to watch my Anaheim Mighty Ducks, you will be able to watch that game tomorrow as they take on Oklahoma State. It is 2:33 in the afternoon. We have a grand spanking total of 104 live viewers right now. Thank you very, very, very much. Please don't be shy, even during commercial breaks. Type in in the chat room. I want to acknowledge you. I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this this gorgeous man whose face was definitely made for radio. We have got to go ahead and take another commercial break here. I want to pay some dues. I want to say hi to some peoples and this and that. And then, folks, we'll be right back. We're going to be talking about Mizzou. We're going to be talking about Pittsburgh State, and then we're going to be talking about the Chiefs and what's gearing up for the postseason right here. So stay with us. We will be right back very, very shortly. This is KC Sports right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Folks, we will be right back.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph Calise, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports, and I will update you on all that's black and gold. Have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Calise, the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
Everybody, this is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
The roar of the crowd, the drama and pageantry, the adrenaline rush and decadence of the world of professional wrestling. Join yours truly, the SoCal Saint, for the best pro wrestling podcast going today, the IE Wrestling Show, exclusively on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Join us every Wednesday from 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, every Wednesday, the IE Wrestling Show. It's just too woo!
Welcome back to another episode of This is KC Sports right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. 120 of you watching this. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Follow us on the Twitter, on the Gram, on the Book of Face, on the TikTok, and on YouTube at IE Sports Radio. If you are watching us right now on YouTube, please feel free to go into to the chat, the little box that's underneath this video, and say hi. You know, I love interacting with people. I love getting people's thoughts, especially when I'm in a certain discussion place based. It's great. It's fun. It's swell. It keeps things rolling. It keeps things moving. It keeps things entertaining. I like to keep things entertaining, and it helps me interact with the people that watch this show on a daily. Of course, you can also follow us or find us on all your podcast needs. So Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that good jazz. Planet Premium Beef. It's always a tongue twister, no matter how many times you've said this over the years. Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. The jerky that's on a whole other planet. and of course, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and of course, our newly found, very important sponsor, especially for mental health, whether you're man, woman, or child. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off of their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. I know it's a little bit past the holidays season. I still count January as a holiday season per se. Brand new year. It's the first month of a brand new year, brand new adjustments, this and that. Take care of your mental health. Trust me. Being in security and being an officer and being a dispatcher, there is a lot of mental health that goes on and on that gets affected, whether you mean it to or not. I kind of knew what I got myself into being in this business, simply because of the fact that anything security wise, anything customer related, people related wise, it gets very stressful, especially when you're dealing with real life situations, whether they be simple-minded noise complaints or something serious such as a shooting or whatever the case may be. It gets kind of stressful, so you gotta kind of keep your mental health in check here. So no matter what you do or what your situation is or whatever the case may be, make sure you take care of yourself, because trust me, money cannot buy you a second life. Only you can. So with that being said, let's talk about some fun things here. We're not going to be talking about some fun things here. We're going to be talking about some more sports. Unfortunately, over on the Missouri side, the Tigers lost to Auburn 84-68. That was again on January 4, which is a Saturday. Auburn's 13-1, comparable to Mizzou 11-3. That's not bad. That's really not bad, guys. You look at this, you see this and this and that. It's not horrible. I'm not taking it as horrible by any means. Let's just, let's check out the, if we can here, let's check out the overview of the game. Let's talk about it here. Again, just like the previous teams, I'm going to be talking from Mizzou to Auburn. So that's how I'm going to be doing the order here, so nobody gets confused. Field goals, 21 out of 55 versus 28-49. Field goal percentage, 38.2, comparable to 57.1. That's one reason why Auburn beat Mizzou. Three-pointers, 7 out of 23, comparable to 10 out of 21. Not bad. Three-point percentage, 30.4%, comparable to 47.6%. Free throws. This is where it gets pretty close here. 19 out of 26 versus 18 out of 24, which basically percentage-wise, that's 73.1% versus 75% when it comes to the free throw shots. Total rebounds, 31 comparable to 29. Offensive rebounds, 13 comparable to 6. Defensive rebounds, 18 comparable to 23. So it's low, but not bad. And then, of course, assist, 12 assists comparable to 18. 1 block comparable to 9 blocks. That might be another reason. However, it kind of shifts over to 13 steals comparable to 9 steals. 16 turnovers comparable to 16 turnovers, so 50-50 shot right there. And then this showed a little bit more of an aggressive game. 20 personal fouls comparable to 21 personal fouls. However, at the end, all be all, Auburn, number 2, beats Mizzou 84-68. So, my personal opinion on that is not bad. Not bad. Not the best scoring game in the world, but not the worst scoring game in the world. It went back and forth. It didn't go back and forth like I would like. But, it is what it is, and that's okay. It looks like it's going to be tomorrow against Louisiana State University. Good old LSU versus Mizzou. And how can you watch that game? It's going to be on, it's going to be on ESPN. So for those of you who have extended cable, it's going to be on Fubo. It's going to be on Sling. It's going to be on YouTube TV. Which I'm lucky that I have a significant other that has YouTube TV, because then I'll be able to watch Monday Night Raw, which, let's segue here in a second, a It's a great day, but it's a depressing day because today is the start of John Cena's farewell tour. He's going to be doing this shindig until about the 29th of December, 2025, and then he is donezy. He is done. We're going to be talking about that here in just 1 second here. Mizzou, LSU tomorrow. You can definitely watch it on ESPN, regular ESPN here. Man, 2:43. We got 2 more things to really talk about here. I'm just going to make this very, very quick. Because I need to add something here while I'm talking. So I'm going to be working and talking at the same time, not like I haven't been doing that for this past hour. So realistically, watching John Cena during the Ruthless Aggression era, he definitely made professional wrestling for me very, very entertaining, and it got me even more hooked and gave me that edge and that itch to get into the squared circle, which wouldn't have happened until maybe roughly 2012, 2013. But regardless, those were some very prominent years of my life of being a professional wrestler as Brandon the Franchise Buck, that I have been lucky that I can move that brand on over to IE Sports Radio for This is KC Sports. That's why I'm always saying, my name is Brandon the Franchise Buck, the greatest of all time, the best in the world, but more importantly, the owner of the world. That was my tagline when I was on the microphone and when I was active in professional wrestling. And a lot of that, very, very small specks of my franchise character was inspired by John Cena's basic Thugonomics character. Not very good on rapping or anything like that. But when it became like that heel, that bad guy, I kind of took a little bit of his character comparable to other people's too, and move that to real life me. Not real life me like me talking to you right now, but real life me as in the character that I played as the franchise when I was in the squared circle. So that will be fun to watch. That is Monday Night Raw. It is no longer on the USA Network. It is on Netflix now. So if you have Netflix, if you're even interested, because I know not everybody is in professional wrestling, that's okay. It will be starting at 7 p.m. and they have a brand new setup for it. It's going to be great. Let's talk lastly but not leastly about my alma mater, Pittsburgh State University. We are going to be talking about their game against Northeastern State as they traveled on by from Northeast to Pitt State at the John Lance Arena. These are the women. Pitt State wins 88-56. Systematically, and I don't know if this is just a small school thing or an area thing or what have you. Women's sports in Southeast Kansas is a lot more popular comparable to men's sports. And it wasn't always like that. At the very beginning, it was the men that were getting the crowds comparable to the women, but then the women were getting really, really good under Coach Amanda David. And even before that, actually, Amanda hasn't been the head coach for long. I don't know. There was just a switch because you see the crowd just building during the women's games. And then for the men's games, like towards the end, they would just kind of, leave or take the ever popular, very long extended bathroom break for the men, which is crazy. The Riverhawks are 5-8 and 1-3 in the MIAA, which led by Deanna Douglas, who is the high scorer for the game of 15 points and grabbed 2 rebounds, and Courtney Lee, who also added 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals. Northeastern State shot 31.7% from the field and struggled beyond the arc, converting only 4 out of 16 attempts at the 3-point shot. Pitt State opened up the game on a strong note, outscoring Northeastern 25-14 in the first quarter. Gorillas hit 4 3-pointers in the period and capitalized on the Riverhawks shooting woes. NSU never led in the contest as Pitt State built 44-27 halftime lead thanks to 11 3-pointers and dominance on the board. See, that's the thing. It's always the points outside of the arc that count the absolute most. Not because of the obvious discretion that it's 3 points comparable to 2, but literally you just hit that 3-point shot and the other team just kind of loses momentum a little bit. It just kind of takes the wind out of them. And that's just sports. That's just anything, It goes on, or whatever the case may be. Pitt State, 12-2, 4-0 in the MIAA. So basically, MIAA, when they say it like that, if you're not aware, it's basically the same difference as saying like the Kansas City Chiefs against the Chargers, the Broncos, the Raiders. They're undefeated in the AFC West or whatnot, comparable to they lost to somebody outside of the AFC. That's what they mean by that. Macy Mays had a perfect shooting night, scoring 30 points on 10 out of 10 shooting, including 4 out of 4 3-point range. I mean, that Macy, she is a beast. The Gorillas made 10 of their final 11 shot attempts and had 4 players in double figures. Um, you know, that is just, let me tell you something. Those girls are just, they are something special. That team is something special. I love watching them. I love hearing great things about them, even being 147 miles away up north. And they say it best, and it's the truth. Once a gorilla, always a gorilla. And I knew that was my school. It's not KU, it's not K State, but they bleed red and yellow, and I correlate that to my childhood memories of being a Hulk Hogan fan. And then, of course, my favorite band in the world, Guns N' Roses. Well, it literally says on the side of Carney Smith Stadium, "Welcome to the Jungle." And we're the only school in MIAA and NCAA history that has a gorilla as the mascot. So it works out. It's really, really awesome. It's a really cool environment. We're the only school in the MIAA that has a Jumbotron, if you will. I've personally climbed it when I was in production, when I was with sports communications with Pitt State. It is a son of a bitch to climb up with a $10,000 camera, $20,000 camera, whatever it is. So, it is what it is. But let's talk about the men here. They unfortunately lose 87-91 Northeast. Let's do a little feedback here. Northeastern State withstood a late rally by Pitt State. So Pitt was trying to come back. That unfortunately did not happen, obviously, and overtook the Gorillas in the final minute for the 91-87 win on Saturday evening. The Riverhawks used 6 unanswered points in the final minute for their 4th consecutive victory and improved to 9-4, 3-1 in the MIAA. Just to give a little bit here, because we are kind of running out of time. You have Trey Phipps, who scored 22 points and had a key takeaway with 7 seconds remaining in regulation. So that was a big deal for the Riverhawks. The 5th-year senior provided the go-ahead driving layup and picked up the and one opportunity, which was the catalyst for the road win. So because of Trey Phipps, just definitely helping out, that's the reason why the Riverhawks scored. You have Ethan Blackman paced the Riverhawks on the floor with 28 points and was a rebound short of a double-double. So that is a big deal on that here. Both teams made 37 field goals, but a key difference was the Gorillas' inability to make a limited free throw attempts, and they were 4 for 11. See, that's always been a thing about Pitt State, especially for the guys. I don't know what goes on in practice. Obviously, things have changed since I was in production, but the fact of the matter is, you've got to really just go back to calisthenics. You have to go back to the basics with everything when it comes to offense, when it comes to defense, when it comes to shooting, when it comes to stealing, when it comes to rebounding, everything, even with sprints, like sprint until you throw up and then sprint some more when you have nothing left to throw up, but you have to throw up. I mean, that's how it was with me over at Oregon Trail. I know it's not as competitive as college ball, even if it is MIAA, but still, you got to do what you got to do. You got to think, if you're not going to be a champion, then why are you in the game? Again, I'm not on the board of whatever board of directors. I'm not a coach. I'm not anything other than my short stint with football and basketball before I became a professional wrestler, or let alone an amateur wrestler for Latham North. I know what I know. Obviously, things have changed big time since I was a school athlete. So I'm not gonna put my 2 cents on that. I want to tell you what I saw, what I read, what I know, and just go from there, whether it's right or wrong. Riverhawks have won 4 consecutive on the road for the first time since 2002-2003 season, in a year in which they claimed the NCAA Division II National Championship, which is a big deal. So honestly, losing to the Riverhawks, being former champions, not really anything to be too ashamed about. And there's that about Pitt State men and women. Last but not least, while we still have some brief amount of time here, because even though we started out a little bit late, I don't want to take up too much time. Actually, I do want to take up too much time here because I need to go back and for those that are in the area, which I do believe I have some people from the Pittsburgh, Kansas area that are watching me right now. Thank you very much for the 177 of you that are watching me right now. Thank you. Here we go. Basketball schedule here. I should already have this up. I don't. I fail. I know. The next game for the women is tomorrow at 5:30, and they're going to be taking on Western. At least I think that's Western. Maybe. Their logo, Western and Southern's logo, are wild here. It gives me the logo. It doesn't give me like the actual thing here. So I apologize for sucking at life because I thought I was a little bit more responsible than this, but obviously I am not. So I apologize for that. They are, let's see here. Here we go. So looking at the men right now, yeah, this is Western. This is, yeah, okay, because yeah, so they're going to be taking on Western tomorrow. The men's game is at 7:30. The women's game is at 6:30 or 5:30. And that's over at John Lance Arena in Pittsburgh, America. If you've never been there, if you happen to be around in the Southeast Kansas area, it is it kind of gives me Varsity Blues vibes. The community loves Pitt State. The community loves its sports and its athletes, whether it be basketball, football, softball, volleyball, baseball, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, they love the small town community help and the love that they get. It's very, very personal. So that is for Pitt State for tomorrow. Let's talk about, yes, that does make sense because they usually do play their games on Tuesdays if they don't play them on the weekends. So let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh my God, the season's over. Let's redraft everybody. No, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday's game meant absolutely nothing. If anything, one, we were doing a double-edged sword here. We were showing off our second and third strings, which I believe even went as far as the third string quarterback. It got so deep into the roster, I actually had to look these guys up on Google and be like, "Who's that? Who's that guy?" It was that deep. The reason why, and I know there's some Chiefs fans out there. It wasn't me. But I know some Chiefs fans are out there who are like, "Hey, congratulations, Denver, for winning your Super Bowl of the NFL season." And I don't really know if it was about that. I know actually some personal friends do celebrate the fact that they annihilated the Chiefs, despite them, possibly ignoring the fact that it was literally our second and third strings who get absolutely no playing time whatsoever. So it was basically minor league football. It was pee wee football versus a college D1 ranked football team. It's kind of like that episode with South Park where Stan is the hockey coach to a bunch of pee wee hockey players, and they essentially take on the Detroit Red Wings, and then they get annihilated and killed, and they end the game with the celebration that they did on the first Mighty Ducks film, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, it is what it is here. It was one of those things. Final score 38-0, which leads the Chiefs 15-2 and the Broncos 10-7. This is the first time in years beyond years that the Broncos make it to the postseason, which I'm actually, I'm not going to lie. I'd rather see them in the postseason than say like Buffalo or Cincinnati or even the Raiders. Hell, I would even be happy if the Chargers made it to the postseason. Honestly, I kind of like Herbert. I just, it just seems weird that the Chiefs aren't in the postseason. And luckily, they've done it. I mean, they've been AFC West champions for 9 years. So I mean, yeah, Carson Wentz 10 out of 17 catches or attempts, 98 yards. He didn't even break 100. Jesus, not even one touchdown, or thank God for no interceptions. Olaktunkun, 0 for 0. He didn't do anything. What really throws me off here, I'm actually going to throw some beef here. Whatever actually throws me off is the fact that he gets to wear number 19, which will forever be Joe Montana's number. That is Joe Montana's number with Kansas City. I don't, great. He was 16 over in San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. We got him from San Francisco. Yeah, okay, we did that with Alex Smith too. Like calm your shit. Yeah, that just threw me off, and I kind of just wasn't really paying attention to the game. I was just kind of listening like it was on the radio. Carson Steele, 8 carries, 25 yards. Not terrible, not the best by any means. Noah Gray was -4 for 1 carry. Perrine, 1 yard, 1 carry. Obviously, these guys weren't really doing anything. And then you have a whole bunch of just randos. So like Hendershot and Remigo, Justin Watson, Juju, Carson Steele, Noah Gray. They all had receiving yards between 48, 25, 13, 5, 4, 2, 1. You had a different Jones on the team or on the field, number 44, not to be confused with Chris Jones. You had Johnson. It just goes on and on and on here. I'm not even going to get too much into this because there's really no reason to go too much into this. Harrison Butker, I scared my girlfriend by yelling at him. I was like, "This is why you'll never make the Super Bowl," or something. I was being facetious. She wasn't prepared for that, so that's my bad. But he missed a field goal. WTF. I blame his foot surgery. So what does this mean? Obviously, one, this means that Cincinnati is completely out of the postseason. Joe Burrow, for the 3rd year in a row, is not going to be in the postseason or what have you. Denver is in for the first time in like forever. I think it's been like 8 or 9 years. I could be wrong on that. Taking something from Pete Sweeney, and you can find him on Twitter at PGS Sween. 3 takeaways from the Chiefs, 38-0 loss to the Broncos. After whatever that was, it's now time for the postseason football, and hence Taryn Rodriguez comment, "Are you ready for the Chiefs season to start?" The correct answer is yes, sir. Sunday's game was an unsettling blast from the past, a reminder of how far the Chiefs have come. Yes. I can't say this enough. Yes. I don't want to say the B word because it's actually kind of nasty, but for you bandwagon fans that decided to jump onto the wagon because of the fact that the Chiefs are Super Bowl defending champions, or because of Patrick Mahomes, or because of Travis and Taylor, whatever the case may be, believe it or not, this is not the worst that the Chiefs have ever been, because blast from the past, before Andy Reid, before Patrick LaVon Mahomes, before Travis Michael Kelce, there were the Chiefs that played yesterday. And, people say, us old timers, doing the quotation mark gimmick, for those of you who are listening to audio, back in the day, yeah, these were the Chiefs. The Chiefs that you saw yesterday against Denver, that was the team I grew up on, basically. There might have been some times that we played really, really good. There might have been some times that we had some hope, but the last time we were in the playoffs, when I was watching, was the championship game against Buffalo when Joe Montana was knocked out. And I believe we had to go to Rich Gannon or what have you for the last half of the game and whatnot. I want to say that was the 3rd quarter, maybe even the beginning of the 4th quarter. Regardless, what you saw yesterday is exactly what we Kansas City Chiefs fans experienced for years beyond years, including the kicker that will never be named on this podcast forever, as long as I have air in my lungs. You know who I'm talking about, the one that missed Pete after Pete after Pete against Indianapolis. Then we have the God bless him, the Romeo Crennel era. I don't even need to talk about that. We had the Todd Haley era. What were we thinking? Yeah, that is a real thing. So for those of you who are like, "Oh my God, what the hell are the Chiefs doing?" For those of you that are freaking out that we lost 38-0, don't. Because this game meant absolutely nothing. It does not deter us from the postseason. It does not deter us from our mindset of what we have to do. Pat and Travis and Chris and everybody was on the field watching the game just like you and I were. And they were being leaders. They were being supportive. They knew that they probably weren't going to be getting too much out of this, but I digress. This is just something that happens. And that's okay. This game literally meant nothing. We could have lost $1 billion to nothing. And we would still be, a first round bye in the postseason, and we're taking on whoever. It could be Buffalo, it could be Baltimore. I don't know how it's all set up here. The next thing that Sween says is the team learned some things in this game, both positive and negative. That is correct. First glance, he says, upon first glance, I thought DJ Humphries looked both healthy and serviceable, which should provide the coaching staff the option to play him at starting left tackle. That would allow the team to return Joe Thuney to his native position at left guard, should they so choose to make that lineup adjustment. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And after whatever this was, it's officially playoff time. The Broncos won 10 games, nearly beating the Chiefs the first time around, and they deserve to be in the postseason. They traveled to Buffalo to meet the number 2 seeded Bills in a matchup that intrigues me. After their win over the Las Vegas Raiders, the number 5 Chargers will head to Houston to play number 4 seeded Texans. The number 3 seeded Baltimore Ravens host the number 6 seeded Pittsburgh Steelers to round out the wild card. The number 1 seeded Chiefs will enjoy another weekend of rest, awaiting the lowest remaining seed to emerge for the divisional round. So with that being said, it's either probably going to be Pittsburgh or maybe Los Angeles. I don't really know the seed. Let's see here. We have time here because there's not. Yeah, we got some time here because there's not going to be another show for 2 hours. So I'm going to extend the time a little bit since we are so close. We're 5 people away from 200. 4 people now. Let's see here. Let's look this up while we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and everything else. Postseason schedule. I don't think I really want that. I think I want the brackets. Okay, cool. So no, I don't. While I'm talking about this, while I'm searching this, because using technology is a first day for me because I suck at life. Okay, so it looks no, I don't even want that either. It looks like if anything, how it's actually going to work out is this. It looks like okay. So the Broncos are 7, the Bills are 2, Ravens 3, Pittsburgh 6, Houston 4, and Chargers 5. Obviously, Chiefs being 1. So let's say this: the Broncos beat the Bills. I honestly don't think it's going to happen. Nothing personal, Denver. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Josh Allen still has that itch that he wants to do something in his legacy, such as beat Patrick Mahomes in the postseason, which he's never done. Let's say this: if the Broncos beat the Bills, the Broncos meet the Chiefs. If the Bills win, obviously they're going to be in the other brackets, whereas it looks like I would suggest like it would be the second highest or third highest, whatever the case may be. So let's say this: if Baltimore beats Pittsburgh, Baltimore will be take on the Broncos. If the Texans beat the Chargers, they'll be taking on the Broncos. And whatever. Steelers and Chargers are my 2 favorites that are going to be going into the divisional round and taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I honestly don't think that Bo Nix and those boys will have what it takes to make it to the divisional round. I could be absolutely wrong on that. I have been absolutely wrong in the past, and that's okay. That is completely okay. What do I think about the postseason? I think about a lot. I never, as a all-time Chiefs fan, I think all-time Chiefs fans that are watching this. By the way, sidebar 3:06 in the afternoon. Thank you so much. In my podcasting career with IESR and in my personal podcasting career, I have never once had 200 viewers live right now watching this show. That means absolutely so much to me. Thank you so much. While I'm talking about the postseason and this and that, I'm going to go ahead for those of you that are watching me live on YouTube. I have the ticker going down right now. That's where you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Obviously, if you're watching this live, you're watching this on the IE Sports Radio channel. That obviously is flashing to you live. Obviously, my production team and myself have annoyed you guys on Twitter with my retweets and this and that. So thank you for those of you who are watching us via Twitter, maybe even on Instagram and what have you. That is absolutely amazing. I'm actually going to look me up on the TikTok. I should have me on there, but I can neither confirm nor deny. But what I'm saying about the postseason for the Chiefs. What do I mean by that? I mean absolutely this. I think that this is such an opportunity for this team, for this franchise, for everything. I think it is absolutely the best thing going. Why? For so many years as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, for something that I grew up on, that was introduced to me in 92, 93 by my third grade teacher, once upon a time in a faraway land, and you old people will know what I'm talking about here. Once upon a time in a faraway land, you could go to Price Chopper. They were doing autograph sessions with the offensive line, defensive line, Joe Valerio, Neil Smith, Derek Thomas, Christian Okoye, Marcus Allen. I want to say, I could be very wrong on this, I want to say I saw an autograph picture, black and white, 8x10 picture of Joe Montana on my third grade teacher's wall, whatever. JJ Burden. The list goes on. And I mean, that's where I literally learned, like, oh, we have a football team that plays for the NFL. We're called the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. And then as the years progressed, that's when I learned about the history. That's when I learned about the coaching with my Schottenheimer ball, as we like to joke about, this and that, yada, yada, yada. It's such a great thing. It was definitely something, especially living in a single parent home, that's something that my mother and I, my adopted mom and I could bond together. She was a preacher. She was a reverend. And then after church, after we said bye to everybody from the congregation, we would go home and she would put on her whatever player jersey it was, and I would put on whatever player jersey I had, whether it be Derek Thomas or Joe Montana. I never had a Marcus Allen jersey or a Neil Smith jersey. It was Derek Thomas or Joe Montana. And that's how we bonded. After church, when she was done with her sermon, we would go home. I would have my Sprite. She would have her Coca-Cola, and we would watch the game together. That was our thing. Grandpa and I, we kind of enjoyed baseball together because it was usually on when mom was at work or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But that is just something, how sports have been so important into the Buck family. And then obviously I was never a Kareem Hunt or a Isaiah Pacheco when I was playing football for Oregon Trail Junior High because, well, I had a outstanding running back that I was HB2 for, and that was Darren Sproles. And we're not going to talk about basketball by any means. I was screwed out of my tryout. Damn blisters on your feet. Amateur wrestling was my gig. I guess I was the solo athlete. That's just how it was, because it definitely proved to be the solo athlete in me to become a professional wrestler and joke around and say I take chair shots for a living. Hence the reason why at 40 years old I'm walking around like Hulk Hogan. Hence why I need 45 minutes to stretch every morning so I get some circulation back in my body. But that's just how important sports were and are. And watching the Chiefs when they first drafted Patrick Mahomes, I didn't know anything about him. And that sounds so bad for somebody who's a sports broadcasting major. I knew the kid came from Texas Tech, and I know he had some great highlights, but I didn't know anything about him. I didn't research that. Stats, I even had to talk with my girlfriend. Stats, like hardcore stats, like Patrick Mahomes back in 2015, he had like blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Maybe somebody who's playing in like 20 leagues of fantasy football, maybe they care because maybe it might mean something to them. They know the science of how their fantasy football league is going to go, or whatever the case may be. That was never a concern for me whatsoever. So I just enjoy the game, and I try and educate myself on the game and try and get the mindset of what actually he's trying to do, that we might see with our naked eye or we don't see. And he's just kind of doing a slow build up here and going from there. When it's all said and done, I never once, like when we lost to the Buccaneers, when Tom Brady was still playing ball, I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would witness a Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl game. Although we lost, and that was extremely depressing when we came back and we took on the 49ers. That game, I was absolutely bawling like a baby. I was like, this is something that I dreamt about all my life, that my mom and my grandpa got to witness for Super Bowl, their first win, Super Bowl II, for. And then, fast forward, I got to witness something. It's kind of like the 2014 Royals. I got to witness a World Series win. And this is something that mom and grandpa got to witness too. So I felt like I was getting more involved with the family when it came to sports. And then when it's all said and done here, we come back and we're taking on the Eagles, and it's the Kelsey Bowl, and that was like probably could have been the most marketable Super Bowl in the world. You have two people that everybody loves. Or everybody hates. But regardless, there's at least one Kelsey brother that literally everybody loves, and that's definitely Jason Kelsey. Not everybody's going to be a fan of the party boy gimmick that Travis does, and that's perfectly fine. I get it because not everybody likes me. I'm kind of outspoken. I'm kind of all over the place, but um, that could have been an absolute marketable game, kind of like Peyton and Eli, um, Tom and Peyton. I'm trying to think of who else here that might be of some sort of relevance. The majority of my lifetime of watching football has always been Tom Brady, postseason, whatever. I couldn't even tell you the quarterbacks back in the day when Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys were ruling the NFL world. Um, Now it's definitely turned into an AFC thing for me, even though that's just not possible. It's just fun to watch in the postseason. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Um, Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. Um, I guess now this year, we might see a Justin Herbert versus Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. Um, yeah, it just gets better and better and better. And then whatever happens on the NFC side, what happens? I definitely have to take another picture though, while I'm boring everybody with my soapbox, because this is just phenomenal, and I'm so proud of this show and where I've wanted this to go. Um, Obviously we had some major changes at the start of 2025, and that's okay. I was a little bit worried because I didn't know if I was going to get to this point. But with this show, I'm so proud and I'm so happy and I'm so grateful and thankful for the 214 viewers at 3:14 in the afternoon on January 6th, 2025. Believe it or not, last year, even late last year, we were at like maybe 10 and whatnot. We thought it was a big time deal when we made it to 108 viewers. Now we're at 214. That's just crazy. Maybe one of these days we'll make it to 300 and then 400 and then whatever. I don't know. Again, for those of you who are watching that are brand new to the show, my name is Brandon Buck. I'm here in Kansas City on the Kansas side. I hope you're enjoying the snow. I hope you're inside because if you're like me, you've had a 3-day, or you will be having a 3-day if you count tomorrow, 3-day vacation weekend, if you will. Because me and my cat Lucky, who is underneath the recliner right now, uh, we're playing it safe. We're not going out there with the snow plows and the crazies and this and that. Um, Coming up for next week's show, I'm going to leave Martine with IE Sports Radio with the wrestling show. I'm going to let him talk about Monday Night Raw, which is tonight on Netflix. It is ended its long reigning tenure with USA Network. So if you have the Netflix, you can watch them on there. Um, and I'll let him, SoCal Saint, go ahead and do his thing with WWE and AEW and all that other jazz. I will be watching as a diehard wrestling fan, so that will be fun. Um, Pitt State, both the men and the women on the basketball side, will be playing tomorrow against Missouri Western, I believe it is. The women start at 5:30, and then the men start at 7:30, pending on extended periods of quarter time or whatever the case may be, even if they go into overtime. That's going to be at John Lance Arena at Pittsburgh, America. Pittsburgh, Kansas, southeast Kansas. That's about 147 miles down south from Kansas City. So if you happen to be in the area, or if you want to see some good old-fashioned college basketball, give those boys and girls a shout. They are a great bunch of people, great bunch of student athletes, especially Amanda David, Coach Amanda David for the women's. She is such a sweetheart, and I have been so proud of her since she was just an assistant coach, and then she finally got her wings, if you will, and she got the golden ticket of being the head basketball coach for Pitt State women. Let's see here. Mizzou, K-State, and KU all play tomorrow. Mizzou is the only one that's going to be playing on a cable platform, which will be ESPN. K-State will be playing on ESPN Plus. So if you're a member like I am, because I like to watch my Anaheim Mighty Ducks, Yes, I know that they are the Anaheim Ducks, but I am a child at heart, and they will forever be until the end of time the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Um, Go ahead and watch them, K State, and then KU. They will be on, I believe it's Fubu and YouTube TV. I can neither confirm nor deny because of the fact that I didn't get any type of update whatsoever if they're actually going to be on cable television. But that kind of gives you a general idea. And if you forget all of this information, that's okay. That is exactly what the Google is for. That's exactly what the Google is for. Um, we got a great lineup on the way here. Mondays seem to be just a special time when it comes to this stuff. We got uh, here in less than 45 minutes, we have the Carolina Sports Update Show, which starts at 4 p.m. And then at 7 p.m., we have the Chi-Town Weekly with Adam Karnick. Uh, Also at 8 p.m., we have the Extra Mile. And then to end the broadcasting night, Chi-Town and the Extra Mile are at 7 p.m. And then at 8 p.m. Is a Set Point with Taryn Rodriguez, who was in the show previously. Um, uh, I didn't even see this, and I apologize, Ralph. My God. Yo, franchise over on X, Twitter, watching your show is incredible. That's great. That is absolutely astounding. I don't want to bore anybody. I wish somebody would post if they want me to shut up or not, because I feel like I'm taking way too much time here. Maybe this is the reason why we changed our show from 5 o'clock to 2 o'clock, because then we had some gateway to just jibber jabber and talk about this and that. 213 people is amazing, guys. Like, that is just absolutely amazing. I absolutely love the fact that we've gotten to this point here. If you're watching me on the live feed, I apologize for all the selfies. That's just, I don't want to sound egotistical. Trust me, I'm not. I'm beyond blessed and beyond humble at this. But the fact that I'm taking so many pictures right now that This Is Casey Sports has gone. Okay, because I was the OG before life happened, and we had a great man named Bishop who took over the reins of the show. Did what he did, especially during the. I want to say. I want to say I started this show with Larry B and the rest of the folks with IESR back in 2020 or 2021. Um, and then life happened. We won't get into that, but life happened for me, both health and other things. We had a great man named Bishop who took over the reins for a few years. And then, other than maybe a few guest appearances here and there within the last 3 years, just this past June, I was asked to come back to the show. And then the start of 2025, we decided to make some big time changes, and that included me going solo, which was a humongous change for me, especially because of the fact that Bishop and I did very well together and what have you. So I look at this as a business. I'm looking at this as maybe down the reins. Maybe somebody will take over for me, and I will pass the torch. But until then, I want to make this show as entertaining as possible, as informative as possible. I understand there's 1,000,000,001 podcasters and this and that, both on YouTube and on audio, that have their personal opinions, and it's just people's flavor. Um, I actually feel like this show was kind of less entertaining than what I've done in the past. Maybe it's just because I'm still trying to get my build on everything here of doing this solo again. But the fact that I have people watching on Twitter and on YouTube, and we have 215 viewers right now that are watching me ramble and talk about Kansas City anything. Thank you so much. I can't express just how happy I am that y'all are taking the time out of your day to watch me jibber jabber this and that. We have a great show in the Carolina update coming up here just a little bit past 30 minutes from now. Starts at 4 o'clock. You can, if you are in the Carolina area, so the North or South Carolinas, if you're a Carolina anything fan, we have a great show coming up here at 4 o'clock. And you can stay tuned on this YouTube channel right here because every show that goes live, whether it be double or whatever the case may be, will be shown on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that good jazz. So I mean, I actually made the mistake of not going to to if I can type this in. I hate doing this while I'm on the air, but I know the majority of y'all will completely understand. Um, I Here we go. Um, I I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm kind of flabbergasted. I'm just so thankful at the spot that we have 215 viewers. Once upon a time in a faraway land, we had 8. We might have even had 3 viewers, and then to go from that back in June, fast forward to January, and January 6th, 2025, we have 215 viewers, and I'm doing this solo. That is huge, and that is remarkable, and that is such a blessing, especially for the people that have watched this show for the years that it started, to when it was just Bishop, to when it was Bishop and I, and now it's just back to me, at least for the time being. That's just great. That's remarkable, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Ralph, he was giving us, at least when Bishop was still on the air, he was giving us some grief, just for fun, because he represents Pittsburgh. So obviously he was excited for the Christmas game. It did not go in his favor. Thank God, because I did the ongoing joke that if the Steelers beat the Chiefs, then they've ruined Christmas. Unfortunately for Ralph and his Pittsburgh Steelers, Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes were the ones that ruined Christmas for Pittsburgh. So we give each other grief, but it's all fun and games. And then of course we have Taryn, who indefinitely represents his Chargers, and he definitely covers the Anaheim Ducks, and he will be ending the broadcasting night tonight at 8 p.m. with Set Point. Taryn does a remarkable job. If that dude was a living octopus, that would be Taryn Rodriguez. That dude does so much behind the scenes. He's always in everybody's show. There's about 20, 30 of us, maybe more, that have our own individual shows, whether we have co-hosts or not. It's insane. So for those of you who are brand new viewers, and this is the reason why I'm taking a little bit extra time here than normal. For those of you that are brand new viewers and whatnot, we have a hell of a lineup. When it comes to IE Sports Radio, it's one of those things that you don't realize how big you are until you get to that point. And I mean, it is what it is. Sundays there are 4 shows. Mondays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows. It starts as early as 11 a.m. with the New York State of Sports, and then of course my show at 2, Carolina at 4, Chi-Town and the Extra Mile at 7, and then Set Point at 8 o'clock. Tuesdays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows on Tuesdays. 1, 2, 3 shows on Wednesdays. 1, 2, 3 shows on Thursdays. 1, 2, 3 shows on Fridays, and 4 shows on Friday. Excuse me. And then 1, 2, 3 shows on Saturday. Again, I had mentioned professional wrestling, and of course, you can. Yeah, I mentioned that just because of the fact that with me being a former professional wrestler and a diehard WWE fan and what have you. The IE Wrestling Show is at noon on Wednesdays, and you can catch that for those of you who are interested in that. Unless otherwise, you get to catch me. For you new people out there that are watching this live or whatever the case may be, we talk about Kansas City anything. It's not just pro sports. It's not just college sports. When we get the time frame, when we get the information, what have you, we talk about high school sports, the Olathe school districts, the Shawnee Mission school districts, the whatever else is out there districts. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, so talking about Olathe is kind of my MO. But we also have to show respect where respect is due with the Gardner schools and the Shawnee Mission schools and the I know that McPherson College is coming down to Pittsburgh State here soon. I think in the next 2 weeks or what have you. We talk about all that good jazz. And then, of course, we talk about opinion statements. So kind of like how we started the show with what's going to happen with Tyreek Hill. Is he just, talking out of his ears, or is he actually going to be getting a release this postseason? He's going to have the opportunity to go to a different team. Does that mean Kansas City? In my personal opinion, no. However, we still have some unanswered questions. What's going to happen to Juju Smith? What's going to happen to Mecole Hardman? What's going to happen to Rashee Rice concerning his legals for when he had that crash in Texas? What's going to happen with D-Hop? Because I honestly can't remember the length of his contract. If it's just going to be for the year, if he's going to be for 2 years, whatever the case may be. So then maybe then, we have Xavier Worthy, we have Hollywood Brown. We'll still have Travis for a minute, but just like with Chris and what have you, 5 years comes by really, really fast, man. It comes by really, really fast. And, I understand that Tyreek isn't, a spring chicken anymore. He looked kind of gas from the last game. Maybe it was his mentality. Maybe if he gets a switch, or maybe let's just play devil's advocate, just because we're talking about Kansas City. Let's just play devil's advocate here. I'm going to be like every podcaster out there. Andy Reid and Brett Veach come up with some gigantic golden ace up their sleeve. They get Tyreek back. They do a couple of draft picks and maybe a player. I don't know. Or maybe they give Miami the next 10 years of first-round draft picks or something. I don't know. But let's just say something stupid like that. But just for fun. We like to have fun here. The fact of the matter is this: if they were to do something crazy like that and Tyreek Hill comes back to Kansas City, that opens up so much, and I'll tell you why. That shows not only the folks in Kansas City, both on the Kansas side and on the Missouri side, that shows the NFL universe that people can change, people can grow, people make mistakes, and forgiveness is such a brick off of everybody's shoulders. Tyreek didn't do anything wrong comparable to, say, Kareem, depending on the point of view that you have. But they forgave Kareem, and he has taken this opportunity and he's run with it. No pun intended. That dude has definitely shown the world, without even saying it, that he is humble and grateful to be back in Kansas City after what happened that caused him to be traded over to Cleveland. Tyreek, he thought the grass was going to be greener on the other side and on the beach of Miami. And obviously that wasn't the case. And so if he gets an opportunity to come back to Kansas City, one, it better be really within our cap space. I don't know how that's going to happen unless we get rid of some top name players. Two, I don't know how that's going to happen right now. The only problem that I see is that D-Hop, Juju, Mecole, and Rashee Rice with his legals and what have you. Other than that, let's go back to piggybacking, playing devil's advocate. Let's say everything works out, the money, the players, the atmosphere, yada yada yada. Let's say everything works out and Tyreek comes back. Is he going to be WR1? Absolutely not. Not unless he just gets a revamp in his metaphorical Madden ratings, and he's back to being top notch like he was when he was picked up by us the first time. Is he going to be an essential weapon? 1,000% he will. 1,000%. Dude can still run. He might not be as fast as he once was, but he's still gold. Can he catch? Yeah. Especially since he knows how Patrick plays. He might need to revamp on the playbook a little bit, but other than that, this ain't his first rodeo. The only time he hasn't really done anything is seen a Super Bowl in his life, other than on television or over in Cancun, whatever the case may be. Dude could be another weapon. And it's just a matter of time if and when that opportunity strikes, or if we find somebody in the draft that's just as equivalent, if not better than Tyreek. And we make some big-time changes, because there's going to be a lot of offensive changes. I do not see Carson being back, especially after last night's game. I don't know what they're going to do with Miko, but I don't think they're going to keep him. I'll be damned if they keep Sky Moore. I hate to say that. I don't want to see, anybody getting cut. But however, the Chiefs are a business. You have to constantly evolve. You have to constantly be strong, be youthful, be whatever, to keep that reign of the momentum that you're going to go into the postseason and going into the Super Bowl. Simple as that. We're here to get rings. We're not here to do this or that. And finally, we can say that now. And I say we because I count myself as the Chiefs Kingdom universe, just like everybody else. So if that's cringe, then so be it. But, ask some people in my life, they'll tell you that I tend to be cringe, but they still accept me. But goodness gracious, I want to talk to you guys more, but I know that I'm being selfish right now. It's been an hour and 32 minutes at 214 viewers. I got to check the comments one more time to make sure I didn't miss anybody. We're going to go down the list here. At the start of the show, Taryn Rodriguez, the host of Set Point at 8 p.m. tonight, which will be ending the broadcasting day for us on IESR. Good afternoon, franchise. Have a great show. I did, Taryn. Thank you very much. He also states, ready for the Chiefs season to begin? The answer is yes and no, because you have the division, you have the championship, and then you have the Super Bowl. And then after that, we're done. We're done because nobody watches the Pro Bowl anymore. Sorry, not sorry. Ralph, of course, he was talking on YouTube. From this because there's two comments from Ralph. Good afternoon, franchise Chiefs. Let's go. Have a great show. And I did, Ralph. And last but not least, yo, franchise over on X, Twitter, watching your show is incredible. That's awesome. I love it. I love the interactions, guys. And it's not just us. I mean, there's 214 of you watching this show right now. Please don't be shy. Please talk to me. Please tell me, whatever you want, or keep it clean, but whatever you want, I'd love to have a discussion with you. Sometimes it gets kind of boring, just talking to myself, in a reflection of my face, while we're doing this on video broadcast. But as long as I'm prepared for my show, I like to think it goes by fast. I thought it went by pretty fast today, even though we're maybe 10 minutes late, because I suck at reading time. But I extended the time a little bit just because of the fact we don't have a show until 4:00, which is going to be in just shy of 25 minutes. I would love to have different ideas sported to me. So, I'll tell you this, for those of you who are on Twitter and what have you, because we're going to be ending the show here very soon. For those of you who are on Twitter, hit me up at this is KC_IESR. Let me know. Just, tweet me. Be like, hey, Brandon, what if you talk about this? It's Kansas City. Or, hey, Brandon, I didn't know if you know this or not, but there's an event, in Lenexa or Shawnee or Overland Park or whatever the case may be. Let me know about that stuff, because I'm sure if there's people in the area, I know that a lot of my Twitter followers are in the OP and Shawnee and Lenexa area. If there is a situation going on, like a concert or an event or a festival or whatever the case may be, hit me up and I will definitely talk about that. Hell, what was the last concert? It was the Justin Timberlake concert at the T-Mobile Center. I think that's fun. Let's talk about that. Let's be like, hey guys, don't forget Justin Timberlake's in town. Despite all the politics in 2024, go see that show. And then, it doesn't always have to be sports, believe it or not. I appreciate this show because of the fact that it's my show. I don't mean that selfishly, but it's my show. I can do and say as I please, as long as it doesn't anger anybody. And realistically, as long as I keep it entertaining and informative, I don't have a problem talking about anything Kansas City. In fact, I believe Monday Night Raw is coming to, well, no, I take that back. That happened a few weeks ago. I was going to say that Monday Night Raw is coming to Wichita. That happened already, which was really weird because AEW was at the T-Mobile Center, and I did not go to that show. I unfortunately had to do dispatch, which was crazy enough. But just stuff like that. Maybe there's some things that people don't know about that they would like to know about, but they just there's been, believe it or not, with as tech savvy and social media savvy as I am, there's some things that I just miss, and I'm just like, WTF? Like, where did this time go? Like, I completely forgot about the Guns N' Roses concert that was supposed to be happening at Kauffman Stadium. What was it, last summer, 2 summers ago, whatever the case may be. And then I still don't know if Aerosmith ever made it to Kansas City because Steven Tyler relapsed or something with his vocal cords or whatever the case may be. Um, you know, but I mean, it's good to know. It's good to know stuff like that, even if it's months in advance. So I'm going to. I know I keep saying this. I keep doing selfies here for not selfies, but basically pictures for those of you that are watching me live on YouTube, or in this case, a lot of you are on Twitter and what have you. I cannot express enough, and this will be the last time for at least this show that I tell the story. Back in 2020, 2021, Larry B, good old Larry B, formidable fan of the Las Vegas Raiders. He knows. so no reason to egg him on. But I mean, he came up to me and he hollered at me. He asked me if I wanted to have an opportunity to talk about sports, to represent the fine state of Kansas City, both representing the Missouri side and the Kansas side. I said yes, and then he gave me the bowl. We went to town, and then life happened. He was able to recruit a man named Bishop, who was absolutely a godsend for holding down the fort, if you will, while I was taking care of life, both health and life events and this and that. He did what he needed to do to keep the show rolling. He's over on the Missouri side, but he still talked about Kansas stuff. Then what was other than maybe a few appearances, whether it be on Larry's show or maybe on Larry's show where he had guests. I know me and Bishop had talked about our opinions about the Miami Dolphins versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the postseason, and my dumbass going to that negative 14-degree game only to be locked out of my apartment for 7 hours till maintenance decided that they're going to show on up and help me open up my door. That was the night that I will never forget, and you just have to laugh about it. To where we are today, we're back in middle June, I want to say, middle or late June, early July. I was asked to come back because I was not a constant host or co-host, if you will, on this show. I was asked to come back to co-host with Bishop. And when I came back, even after a couple of shows, I think the highest watch show that we had was maybe 105. And now to go from then and start the brand new year in January at 222 viewers, an hour and 40 minutes. So 40 minutes past when we were supposed to stop. Luckily, we're not intervening in anybody else's show. The Carolina update, which will be starting here in less than 20 minutes, so 19 minutes from now, is coming up next on the YouTube channel and on Twitter and on Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, and all that jazz. It really humbles you and really blesses you at the same time. I know there's 222 viewers that are watching me right now. I know not all of you are from Kansas City or even Kansas City fans, but for those of you that are watching me concurrently right now, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't know if I'm going to hit these numbers again. I hope I do. I hope I keep this constant run, if you will. Maybe next time we'll go to 300 viewers. I don't know how this is going to work. But this is more so just this has been a very laid back show. You can ask anybody. This has been a very laid back show. A lot of the times I'm a lot more animated and this and that, but I think I'm a little bit blown away and off my tracks a little bit because of the numbers that we generated today on today's show. So I can't wait for next week's show. For those of you that are wrestling fans, today is day one of John Cena's farewell tour. For those of you that are wrestling fans, you know how important that is. So you'll get to see him on your TVs again. He's going to be full-time wrestling for this year. So, and that's it. December 29, 2025. That's his final day under the WWE wrestling world, and you won't see him wrestling again. So it's kind of bittersweet, and I just hope sometime this year. I don't care. I do not care what I'm doing. If WWE makes it to Kansas City at the T-Mobile Center, come hell or high water, I am going to that show, because I know that it will be the very last time I ever witness John Cena under the spotlights of a wrestling ring, let alone the T-Mobile Center, et cetera, et cetera. Next week, we're not going to be really talking about the Chiefs. We're going to be talking more so about what their game plan is against whoever they're going to be facing that next Saturday or Sunday, depending on the circumstance. I haven't really educated myself that far down the road of what's going to happen with the Chiefs schedule, other than Denver is in. Thank you to the Chiefs. Cincinnati is out, and I don't know how accurate this is. I really hope this is just one of those internet meme things. I'm almost 90% certain that it is, because this isn't how it works in the NFL. That about 23,000 people have signed this petition to have the Bengals force their way into the playoffs, because they're a playoff contender team. Not when you start the season 1-4 and then you flop and flop and flop, and then you have to rely on another team to get you into the playoffs. And I can say that because the Chiefs have needed other teams to gain them into the playoffs, such as the Dolphins beating New England once upon a time in a faraway land. And there's plenty of other games. I can't go down the list right now. If you're statisticians and historians, you know better than I do. I actually have to look it up. I can't just memorize that stuff. It's you still have Jamar, you still have Joe, you still have all your guys and whatnot for the most part. Rebuilding year, I wouldn't say too much, but there's always next year. Seeing the Chargers in the postseason is a little bit off for me, because it's been a minute. I know my buddy Frank, who represents San Diego. He'll definitely be, not for IESR, but just in general, he will be watching. He will be giving me grief like he always does and whatnot. But he's automatically going to be a Chiefs fan if the Chargers lose. So that'll be fun to watch. And then I don't know, guys. We'll have more updates on KU and K-State. We'll talk about both the men and women from now on between KU and K-State and Mizzou. And of course, I got to talk about the boys and girls from Pittsburgh State University. Again, I will try and do better, because I know I've been slacking a little bit. But if there's anything going on with the high school world, I believe we are in basketball, wrestling. I think track just ended. I'll research some more. Basically, outside sports are Dunsey. Actually, I want to say that wrestling is Dunsey too, because I think state happened last month or 2 months ago. Regardless. If there's anything going on, if you're from the Kansas area, or if you're even from the Missouri area, you want to talk about your high school or your college and whatnot, and it's not a school that we represent typically, please do. You want to talk about Missouri Western, holler at me. Talk about Missouri Southern, Northeast Missouri State University, CMSU, UMKC, whatever. I would love it. Missouri or Kansas, that's what we're here for. We don't have a Missouri show. I am the Missouri show, because I represent both Missouri and Kansas City. I think once upon a time in a faraway land, we tried or were attempting to get a St. Louis show that hasn't come to surface just yet. I don't know the politics on that, to be continued. But with that being said, guys, I am at 1 hour and 45 minutes. I could probably talk for another 15, but for the people that are brand new to this, I don't really want to ruin their first take on watching This Is KC Sports. I do want to say thank you so much to everybody that got involved. I do want to say thank you to all the people that support us, that keep our lights on and this and that. Let me take off my banner here, because we've got to take care of some important stuff here. Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. I'm planning on ordering me some, and if that ships on by from from California, I believe that's where it's stationed from, then that's going to be a good deal for me. Because I love my beef jerky and I love snacking on that stuff, and it's great and it's swell and it's awesome and I love it. Of course, Seal the Deal Wax Seals. You can check out their brands off of Instagram. Seal the Deal _ Wax Seals. There is a link where you can order and this and that, and it's awesome stuff. A brand new sponsor that we have, IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. That is a big time deal. Man, woman, child. I know we just got out of the holiday season. I still quasi count January as a holiday season because it's the first month of a brand new year. There's a lot of stresses that go on this time in the world, no matter where you are in the world. Even people as far as I believe it's either Korea or Japan that are going to be watching this show. Shout out to Yukio. Mental health is a big thing. I definitely understand mental health, especially being a dispatch officer. I used to be an officer. Now I'm in the dispatch world, and doing anything with security and people is very highly stressful. And I knew what I got myself into. So, this is, for lack of a better term, and I mean this facetiously, this is I did this to myself. I made my bed. I knew what I was getting myself into, mostly because of the fact I soak up stress like a sponge. But sometimes I expunge a little bit and I get squeezed. And sometimes I kind of need to take a mental health break and be like, okay, you got your shit. You remember who you are. Anybody, though, just because of the fact you're not an officer or in dispatch or in that crazy world doesn't mean that your mental health does not matter. So make sure that you get your mental health checked. You get a reminder, whether it be friend, family, counselor, whatever the case may be, that sometimes you just need a break. And sometimes you just need somebody to listen to you. They don't need to give you advice or anything. It's just good to have somebody to listen to you and get that off of your chest, whether it be journaling or talking verbally or talking on the phone or talking face to face, going out somewhere, going out to a park or somewhere where it's warm when it's not 23 degrees outside. And just recharge. If work doesn't understand, fuck them. I know I'm going to get canceled because I said the F word, but honestly, if you're not able to do your job effectively, then you're no help to them, and you're no help to yourself if you can't live your life effectively too. So make sure you get all of that good stuff checked. That's very, very, very important. And lastly, but not leastly, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. You're watching me live right now on YouTube at IES Sports Radio. IE Sports, capital S at the beginning of Sports Radio. You can also follow us and hear us on all of your podcast needs. iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all of that good jazz. Just look up IE Sports Radio. And essentially speaking, if you go down the list, you'll find This is KC Sports as well as whatever show that you are looking for specifically. Support the team, support the people. They take time out of their busy days and out of their lives and away from their families, to entertain y'all with what we know and what we've checked out and all that good jazz when it comes to our specific sports teams and what have you. I know we have Angela and Fred over on the Arizona side. They do a weekly podcast, and it's the cutest thing in the world to have the married couple sitting at a table together. They're just shooting the breeze about what's going on with the Arizona Cardinals and everything else. I'm sure they'll have something to say about who is it, Arizona State, and I want to say Mizzou, if I said that right. Regardless, though, I've been talking your guys' ear off for 1 hour and 50 minutes, and now 1 hour and 51 minutes to the 222 people that have taken the time out of your day to say hi to me. 223 people. That's going to be the last ticker that I'm going to be posting on social media at this is Casey_IESR at Real Franchise, which is my personal Twitter. We're getting more and more and more. We're at 225 now. I got to keep going, especially if the numbers are going up. I got to keep going. But folks, thank you so much again. This is a weekly show that we do with This is KC Sports. It's going to be on Monday Central Standard Time at 2 p.m. Luckily, that gives me the opportunity, if I want to do things like I did today and talk everybody's ear off for almost 2 hours, which is unheard of with this show, especially being a solo host and what have you. I appreciate the feedback. It doesn't always have to be somebody from IESR. It can be somebody who's on the outside. I will be able, if you're watching this right now live, I will be able to highlight your name and show up your message on the video board and what have you, the video screen. Just for the love of Christ on everything holy, just so that I don't get canceled. Keep it PG, you know. Other than the other words, hell, damn, shit, I'll accept it, but keep it clean. Like, you don't want me to jump in front of a snowplow or something like that. We don't need to be canceled on 2025. I do that enough for me when I'm not on the air. So one last one, and I gotta get my pop socket correctly so it doesn't look all discombobulated while I'm doing this. Oh my gosh, 227. Who would have thought at the beginning of this show we had 8 viewers, and now we have 227. I can't wait to talk about this. Folks, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you for almost 2 hours. The Carolina update is up next. Let's just go down the laundry list here because we are ending this afternoon with great shows coming up. You have the Carolina Sports Update coming up at 4 o'clock, which will be in 5 minutes. So we're going to be ending this show very shortly. Chi-Town Weekly and the Extra Mile, 2 different shows, but they were both on at 7 p.m. And then you have the finale of Set Point starting at 8 p.m. And that will be the end of the broadcasting day for us for IE Sports Radio. Folks, my name, once again, is Brandon the Franchise Buck, the greatest of all time, the best in the world, but more importantly, the owner of the world. And this is episode 78, very successful indeed, of This is KC Sports right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. And folks, until next week at 2 o'clock on Monday, I'll catch you down the road.